you've probably sat through quite a lot of these already this afternoon, so thank you very much for your patience. My name's Wes. I'm one of the digital transformation advisors here at Nourish. I'm also joined by one of my colleagues, Nikki, who's also on today's session. So, Nikki, is Nikki on? She might not have joined yet.
No worries. Well, sorry, call you Wes. Is that what you said, Wes?
Yeah, Wes, Wesley.
Brilliant.
Wes,
just so you know, we are recording these sessions. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely. That's
brilliant.
That's absolutely fine. That's not
Thank
a problem at all.
I thought I'd just introduce myself. So I'm Jeannie Brown. I'm the digital program lead for the Bob ICB and program managing the digital social care program across Bob, so Buckinghamshire, Oxfordshire and Berkshire West. Just wanted to say you have got till 10 to 5 for your demonstration. We appreciate it's only half an hour. So if you could focus your demonstration on the sort of core capabilities of the digital social care record, so the care planning system, and obviously please do allow some time for questions as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I will do. And so I've just got a couple of slides to run through. Is it okay if I sort of present my screen?
I will hand over to you. Yeah,
lovely.
Absolutely.
So let me try to do that. Good. Hopefully you can still, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, just making sure, because I've got a habit of rambling on and not actually sharing my screen. So so just a couple of slides before I get into the main demo, which just explains a little bit about who we are and what we do here at Nourish. Don't worry though, I've purposely kept them short and sweet, knowing that you're more than likely to be suffering from PowerPoint fatigue or falling asleep by now. So they're very short. So I'll also provide that demonstration that you said and give you an overview of how care teams can record and evidence care at their fingertips and on the go through using the Nourish app. And then, as you say, at the end, we'll leave plenty of time for some Q&As and what have you. Good. So so when we started Nourish, which was around 7 or 8 years ago now, our intentions and aim was always focused around improving care for the people that we support. So the majority of the team that we have here at Nourish actually come from care backgrounds, and so it was always designed, Nourish, to be specifically for carers to use. However, we also understand the importance for you as managers and owners to have full visibility of that care, so having an understanding of what's going on and being able to make better informed decisions is really important to what we do here. Okay, so I didn't really want to labour on too much about who we work with and the amount of services we support. What I will quickly touch upon is the variety of different care providers we work with. So we work with some of the really large national care providers, but we also work with some really specialist providers of learning disabilities, supported living, children's services, basically all care services we look after and we can work with here at Nourish, and we do so. Good. So flick across, and as I mentioned previously, everything we do at Nourish is really focused on improving the outcomes for people we support. So a big part of this is being able to personalise and configure Nourish per individual. So Nourish is absolutely designed for ease of use and easily adopted from care staff. What is ultimately unique about us though is that we combine this with an interface that you can customise per organisation and per person, and that's really important and sets Nourish apart. Good. And then finally, just the last slide I wanted to run through was really around connectivity and the quality aspect. So being connected is one of the big challenges at the moment within care. It's huge. So at Nourish, we've built some really key integrations with your leading providers of EMR systems, compliance, nurse call, and remote monitoring. So that interoperability is central to what we do at Nourish, and having some really strong partners is key. We've also been integrated with GP Connect for over a year now, which is basically having access to people's GP appointments, their correspondence, medication, and that sort of thing. And we're constantly working on new initiatives with the ICSs and the NHS, such as shared care records, and basically joining up care. And then finally, customer service and quality is something that we're really passionate about here at Nourish, and we provide a dedicated 24-hour, 365-day-a-year support team. We're obviously on the assured supplier list, otherwise we wouldn't be here, but we're also ISO 27001 and Cyber Essentials Plus certified. Right, that's me rambling on. I'll start the sort of demonstration, if that's okay. Good. So firstly, apologies if this is a little bit small on the screen. I'm actually delivering this through my handheld device and through the Nourish app. So it might come across a little bit small. So staff will basically log in through the app with their own unique login, and they're presented with everyone that they support within the service and they have access to. So we have the service user's picture, we have their name, preferred name. So, you know, my name's Wesley, but I usually go by Wes, so that sort of thing. And then we've got some key or critical information. So we've got bank staff or agency staff, new starters that are not familiar with the people that we support or residents, then it's just going to help them. So we can see that Frank is partially sighted here. We can see that Joan, you know, she prefers to work with female staff and that sort of thing. You can see the colourful badges that we have up here, and these indicate where there's assessments in place. So we know that Frank's got a Dole's assessment, we know that he has some allergies, and he has some dietary requirements as well. So that's what they mean. Going to click into Frank's picture or image. And we open up on Nourish onto two tabs. We've got a timeline and we've got an about tab. I'll come back to the timeline in 2 minutes. We'll just first start off with the about tab. And these are the assessments that I was just discussing. So this is where we sort of break down those assessments and go into them in a bit more detail. So we can see Frank's allergies are here. But he's got quite a bit. And then we can see that he's got some dietary requirements. So we know that Frank's living with dysphagia. We know that as care staff, we need to be following the ITSI guidance and the ITSI framework. We've got high risks that come from Frank's support plan and any sort of like medical conditions that we need to be aware of. So basically, it's a really good overview, a quick overview for care staff about Frank. Staff can download the complete care plan link here, but I'm not going to do that. And we can click into the About Me, and this gives some more information about Frank. So this is his biography. And if we click into here, it's about his family, his background, who's important to his life, any relevant information. And we've got his age, his background, his ethnicity, any career or education, and contact information down here. When he joined the service, and we've got his NHS number here. So as I was saying on the slides, we connect with GP Connect, but that didn't make sense. We integrate with GP Connect. So we integrated last year with GP Connect, and it means that through this you can have records, you can have access to Frank's GP appointments, his medical records, his medication, that sort of thing. We've also got an integration in place with eRed Bag, which, if anyone knows of the sort of like the emergency packs, so if Frank was going into a hospital setting, the emergency pack that you send with Frank, the eRed bag will be replacing that, and that's an integration we've got in place with the NHS. Right, I'll move on to the timeline. So within Nourish, what we have here is what we would refer to as care interactions. And these are absolutely personalised for Frank, and they'll be different from Jones and they'll be different from Peter's. We have what we call Nourish libraries here at Nourish. And what Nourish libraries are, they're key best practice documentation sets from different care settings. So what this basically means is that you could roll out Nourish with these off-the-shelf documentation sets, but as I said on the slides, you can also personalize Nourish, so you can build your own interactions and completely customize those. We have the recorded with the planned time of care interactions down on the right-hand side, but we also record the actual time that the interaction took place. And Nourish works offline as well as online. So if you are in an area where you don't have a fantastic internet connection, you can still log that care as and when it happens. It's going to timestamp that. It will just resync up when you go back into an internet connected area. So let's go into an interaction and show you how that works. So going to daily fluids, for example, the first thing that we're presented with is a body map. So as a carer, if you are providing care and you've made some observations, maybe there's a bruise on Frank's arm or something like that, we can go in and we can see if that's already been recorded. Now, bless him, Frank does look like he's been in the walls, so hopefully you don't have anyone that's got all of these marks on them, but we can quickly see, right, he's got a bruise. Has it been recorded? Well, yes, it has. We'll scroll down. We can go into that. What was it? When was it recorded? Do we need to update that? Or has it now gone and we can archive that? So that's the body map, and that's there on every interaction. We've also got the care plan summary. So this is where this care activity or interaction impacts on Frank's support plan, because they're intrinsically linked. So I click into his care plan and we can see that it links in two ways. We've got eating and drinking and mobilisation. So with the eating and drinking, we use the same template here. We've got what are the commission needs or identified needs. And this is about obviously taking on board fluid and a certain amount. What are we trying to achieve? And then how are we going to be achieving that? And scroll down, and then we've got the risks. So the risks from this are going to pull through for carers through the app, so they've got access. So the risk here of choking, we know Frank's living with dysphagia, so that's a concern. What's the likelihood? Well, the likelihood's sort of like medium. The impact is obviously major if someone chokes. Using the 5x5 assessment, we have an overall risk score of 12. So that's how the care plans and support plans are viewable and accessible through care interactions for staff. Good. So we'll go in and we'll update this care interaction. So you'll notice that here, because this is daily fluid and Frank's been drinking throughout the day, these amounts accumulate whenever we're recording Frank having a drink. So we can see that, you know, progress wise, he's at 30% of his daily requirements. All of these options can be personalised. So if you didn't want drop-down menus and you wanted free type, then you could do. If you want tick boxes, you can do. If you want to make fields mandatory, then you can do. Drink choice. We know Frank likes a cup of tea in the afternoon. So we say, how much has Frank been offered? Well, he's been offered 300 millilitres. So a standard cup of tea, and he's drunk all of that tea. So that's great. So we're going to record here that he's offered 300 and he's taken on board 300. Again, we can make certain fields mandatory if you want them to be, or you can. And then we can add the daily notes in. We can either type these daily notes in, or we can actually speak into the device. Frank enjoyed a cup of tea in the garden and said he was looking forward to family visiting today. Okay. So that's obviously a lot quicker than I can type. So you could speak into the device. It uses Google voice recognition, so it's pretty good. If there was a mistake on there, you can quickly go in and type over that. But generally, it's pretty good. We can decide whether we want to add these to the handover notes. And at the bottom, we've got save buttons. So it's pretty self-explanatory. We've got a green, we've got an amber, and we've got a red. Green saves with no further actions. Amber will raise a medium alert or warning, and red will raise a high level critical alert. So there's no concerns here. Frank's enjoyed his cup of tea, and we're just going to save that. Good. So that's recording a drink through Nourish and an activity. Just going to give you another example, and let's go into activities or something like that. And again, we're recording the plan time against the actual time up here. We've got the body map again, how this links in with Frank's support plan. We can say choices of activities offered. Did we offer Frank some choice? And yes, we did. Did Frank join in? Ways declined to join in. What was the activity? So we can say it was, I don't know, watching a movie. And then we can even take images. So if you wanted, take files, I'm just going to take a picture. It's a bad example because it's not an activity, but just take a picture of my mug. And then that's uploaded that to Frank's timeline. Level of engagement. So he hasn't joined in, he's declined, so very little engagement at all. And then we can even record like duration of activities you want to. You don't have to, but we can do. Come down to the daily notes again. And we're going to say something like, Frank refused to join in and complained of a headache. Just something along those lines. So we'll scroll down. You can add different activities in, so you can have a little pick list if you wanted to. You don't have to use that, and you don't have to have these on there. But again, that just speeds up recording care notes if you wanted to. And then we can save this as green, amber, and red, which I'll do in a second. We can tag colleagues in. So if you're delivering two on one care or 3 on 1 care, we can tag our colleagues in. So I've got Nikki on today's session, so let's tag Nikki in. So now this has tagged both myself and Nikki into this care interaction. So rather than each carer having to record this, it's going to record it on both of our profiles. Now again, I know Frank usually really enjoys watching a movie in the afternoon. So I do think there's a bit of a concern there. I don't think it's a high level concern, but I do think I want to flag this to the management team. So again, I'm going to raise that as a medium alert. And now that is going to raise an alert for the management team. So that is really how you record through the app all care interactions on Nourish. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second. The other thing, I'm going to explain this rather than showing you because I haven't got an example, which is a bit bad of me. We've also got at Nourish what we call quick close tags. And these are stickers the size of postage stamps that have got a built-in chip inside of them. And they use the same technology that you use when you go shopping at Tesco's and you scan for your shopping with your debit card. So basically, with these stickers, you can program them into activities on Nourish. So that might be a nighttime check. Thank you, Nikki. Nikki's presented an example for me. So these are stickers, and we can put these stickers in. We can program these stickers to certain activities, something like a nighttime check or something like a maintenance check. Now, if we stick that sticker on Frank's inside of his bedroom wall, we know that the only way that activity's been opened and completed is if someone's been there, they've scanned their handheld device against that sticker. So you know that the carer has been present at that location. So yeah, really, really popular, and something we use quite a lot at Nourish. Good. What do we like for time?
You've got until 10 to, so I think you've got another 10 minutes, Wes.
Got another 10 minutes. So whether we open it up for a 10-minute question now, or do I flip it across, or should we just open up for questions now?
I do have one question. So Jacqueline has asked, so Jacqueline McCann, any integration with Dockerbo, which is what some of our GPs are using?
Yeah, Dockerbo, whereas that's the current one, yes.
Yes, so we do. It's quite a recent integration, but we do have an integration that we've just put in place with Dockerbo. So the answer is yes. It's fairly recent. With integrations, and I was explaining in the sort of like the slides before, interoperability is key to us at Nourish, and having a relationship with key partners is something we're all about. So yeah, Dockerbo, EMAR, Nurse Call, we're constantly working on new integrations and putting those in place.
Brilliant, thank you. Would it be possible to share your pricing sort of structure with us as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want me to sort of like verbally go through that? How would you want that?
Whichever's most convenient for you, really.
Yeah,
if you've got something that you can share visually, or yeah, just happy for you to talk through it.
I'll talk through if it helps, because I don't have anything visual to share.
That's all right.
Otherwise I would. So indicative costs, if we're talking about residential services, it kind of depends on the service.
Okay. Well, let me give you an example then. Like you say, just for some indicative costs, we've got a care home, 25-bed care home, just to give us an idea on what those indicative costs might be.
Yeah, so ongoing costs, you're looking at about £2 per bed per week.
Okay.
So that would work out at £104 a year if we're looking at the annual costs. So just going to get my calculator up.
2,600, mate. Just did it.
I thought that sounded very cheap.
So Nikki's a bit quicker than me with the maths and calculator.
I can't do mental arithmetic. Yeah, so is there brilliant, any implementation costs?
We do, yeah. So we have some
costs.
Yeah, so there's with costs. So with devices, that's the first thing. Do care providers want to purchase the devices through Nourish, which they can do, or would they prefer to source devices themselves? There's a couple of options there.
Yeah.
We provide devices quite often, but then we've got other customers that source their own, or they've moved from other providers. We actually get quite a lot that move from other digital providers, so they've already got their handheld devices.
Okay. So it's more for your solution, really. So if I wanted to purchase Nourish and get it implemented and have the training and then understand what the licensing costs are, if you can give me an idea of that, that'd be really helpful, I think.
Yep. So you've got obviously the reoccurring cost that I just explained, and then there's a one-off implementation and training costs. So I'll explain what's sort of like involved in that. So we generally provide before we go live with providers 2 full days of training and support. So what that looks like, so day one, typically, I say typically because it can be a little bit different. typically looks like adding residents, adding the people you support, adding staff, adding profiles, and then personalising those interactions. So being able to personalise Frank's interactions from Jones and creating different interactions, because you can do that through Nourish.
Sure.
And then day two tends to be focused around the support plans and uploading, creating support plans. So we have 2 days of training and implementation. The one-off implementation fee is £650.
Okay.
And the training days are £650.
That's per day, yeah?
Yes.
Perfect, thank you. Yeah, it just gives us an idea. Thank you very much. As part of your solution, is there any sort of training sort of modules or user guides as part of your solution as well? So, you know, if someone got a new member of staff or they just wanted to, you know, they'd forgotten how to add something, is there some videos or training in your solution?
That's a great question. So the answer is yes, and I'll go through a couple of things. So for staff using handheld devices, we used to actually provide sort of like one-off sort of sessions, but it became redundant because it was having the time with staff who obviously caring, and it's quite intuitive anyway. It's quite easy to follow, so it was kind of like a wasted session. So when staff are new and they're logging in with their password and username on the app for the first time, they'll have guidance and what we refer to as carousel training. So they'll go through and they'll flick through from page to page, and it'll give them sort of like inline guidance. Now, what we also have in Nourish, in the web version and desktop version, is inline help as well. So we've got all different help articles, whether that's importing care plans, whether that's creating resident or staff profiles. Basically, every administration task you can think of through Nourish, there's a help guide on there, and it gives you clear instructions of what to follow.
Excellent, thank you.
We've also got the 24 365 support. I know Nikki was just about to.
Yeah, I was just going to say the chat function, because I think that's great if you're stuck and you've forgotten how to do something, or you can't make something work. There's the chat buttons on every single screen, and there's somebody available, one of our actual real life humans in Bournemouth, who's there to help you.
Fantastic, thank you, Nikki. Okay, so Chris Reed has asked a question. What are the capabilities to create and issue audits, please?
Yeah, so there's inbuilt audit interactions, and that's something that I should explain. So not only can you log care interactions, you can also log things like audits, you can log things like maintenance requests, service management types. On top of what we'll have as audits, and we've got lots and lots of different audits that we've created, you can also actually build out your own interactions and audits. So I was speaking to a specialist service a couple of days ago, and they wanted a audit on cleaning. So they were more sort of domiciliary and supported living based. So we went through and we created a audit through Nourish and how they could audit the cleaning that happens in people's homes. So it's almost like an audit on cleaning that's what they wanted to create.
Okay, so it's you can tailor it and personalize it to the particular
and that's why that training is so important. So the training, the 2 days of training is really important because you can customize, you can create your own interactions. That training becomes really important because it's going to guide you, right? How can we really make this outstanding? How can we make this our own? How can we really, personalize? And that's the one thing that is unique about Nourish. And I mean, you've seen nine other digital care planning solutions today, but but you're one that you can actually create your own interactions and personalize. Then I've never seen anything like that.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you.
I'm biased, obviously.
Of course. Elizabeth asked, are you adding the data with the provider? So I guess I'm wondering if the question is, so does the provider give you the data and you upload it for them, or is the provider adding the data and you're supporting them with that?
Yeah. So the provider would provide the data. So from a care provider's point of view, they're updating the care interactions. It's not our data; it's the provider's data at the end of the day.
So they're adding that data. So they're creating those care plans and also putting in any historical data as well. Yeah.
I think they mean an implementation, whereas when they're first getting started, if they're porting from another system or they've got a bunch of care plans already, I think that's probably what they mean is an implementation.
Yeah, so we'll help and we'll support and demonstrate and show how to do that, but we wouldn't physically create your care plans or anything like that.
Yeah. Okay.
We'd obviously give you the guidance and the support and the training.
Okay. I think there's a follow-on question for Elizabeth as well, asking, is your system suitable for dom care and ID? That might be LD. So is scheduling and invoicing included?
So let's unpack that. So there was a couple of questions there. So is it suitable for dom care and LD? And I would say, well, yes, we work with lots of different specialist providers. I was speaking to an organisation last week that was a family assessment centre, and they were so basically they had children that were coming into the assessment centre and parents, and the parents might have had learning disabilities, the parents might have had a history of substance abuse, that sort of thing, and so they're assessing and supervising parents providing care for little ones. So again, really specialist providers we can work with. We work with some of the the largest residential providers, but also really specialist. The other part of your question, I think it was Elizabeth, is does it provide invoicing? And it doesn't provide invoicing. No, it's not an invoicing system. It's a care planning system. You can run reports and you can record what care has taken place throughout a week, throughout a month, with which person, and you can record start and finish times, so you can calculate how long is spent with care, but it's not going to invoice. It's not a finance system, and I don't want to oversell it.
No, that's fine. And I think the other part to Elizabeth's question was around scheduling. So are you able to schedule? So I guess from a dom care perspective, are you able to schedule your carers in?
Yeah, and this goes back to the interoperability part and the integration. So we are very shortly integrating with a couple of rostering systems. I can't remember the names of them top of my head, but we soon will be. We still will be partnering with rostering systems. At the moment, there's no rostering capability on Nourish, but there hopefully shortly will be.
Okay, and someone was asking from Purified Hearts Care Services, the training day. Did you say the cost was £650 per day, or the whole training? I think you said it was £650 per day, didn't you? And it was over 2 days. Is that right?
Yeah, and I know it's it's going to be like a significant outlay at the start, but the reasons for that is ultimately the the level that you're going to be able to personalize, creating your own interactions. It's really detailed support and training, and that's usually delivered. It could be face-to-face or remote, but it's full-on training.
All right, brilliant. Thank you. I think that's all the questions in the chat that I can see. So I don't think there's any more questions. I'll just give people a moment just in case if anyone wants to put their hand up. I'm assuming not. So thank you very much, Wes, and thank you very much, Nikki. Really appreciate you attending today and providing a demo of your solution.
No, I really appreciate everyone's time.
To making it to the end.
Yeah.
It's been a long day.
It has indeed.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well
Thank
done.
you. Thank you very much.
Really appreciate that. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thanks.
Thanks, everybody.
Take care. Bye-bye.